As the 2023 season is coming to an end, I'm starting to realize something wrong that is standing out in the college football playoff rankings that I don't agree with. And I have to wonder, why is Washington still ranked at number 4? That's the question I wish I could ask the committee. And before I get into this, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications if you never want to miss a daily upload. But without further ado, I have some stuff I really need to get off my chest. And I'm just going to get straight to the point. The Washington disrespect needs to stop. Last weekend, Washington went on the road and beat the 11th ranked team in the nation, Oregon State, in a very tough game against a team that was undefeated at home this year. This Washington team has had multiple top 20 wins against Arizona, Oregon State, and a win against the 6th ranked team in the nation, Oregon, who is the highest ranked one-loss team in the nation. And they also have a win against 3 teams with winning records: Utah, USC, and Boise State. Albeit Boise State's not a great team, and USC and Utah might not be top 25 teams, but they are decent teams. And although they have finally jumped to number 4 in the rankings this week and passed Florida State, it was very long overdue. This Washington team has proven time and time again that they are a legit team, and it's time to put their bad games against Stanford and Arizona State in the past. Because this team continues to dominate second half of football games, and they've won games alone just with the defense. Now, they may have got outscored 10-0 in the second half against Oregon State, and their offense was really struggling, but they still pulled off the win, and their defense was the reason they won that game. Their defense really held up, and they showed that they can fight when it's in tough circumstances. It was a game in the rain, on the road, against one of the better teams in the country, and they still pulled off the win in a closer game, and it was very low scoring, 22-20. That says a lot about this team, that even in a game where their offense is slow and struggling, their defense can hold on to win games against an Oregon State team that is one of the best teams in the Pac-12. And Oregon State has only 3 losses on the season. All of them were by 3 points or less. If you ask me, I would actually have Washington at least at 3. Washington obviously has the better resume than Michigan. It's not close. And if you really want to play the eye test, yes, Washington has had a couple bad games against bad teams. But they have been impressive the last 3 weeks, and they still have arguably the best win of the season, up there with Texas's win at Alabama, while Michigan is coming off a bad performance against Maryland. So why is Washington still ranked below Michigan? And why in the world were they ranked below a Florida State team that had only 1 ranked win as of last week? The Washington disrespect is crazy to me. Now, if Michigan beats Ohio State, then you could rank Michigan over Washington, and it would make more sense. But I just don't get how you could leave Washington behind Michigan at this time. Michigan has 1 ranked win on the season against Penn State, while Washington has a top 10 win against Oregon, and they have 3 top 20 wins. Michigan has a win against the 11th ranked Penn State Nittany Lions. That's the only top 25 win they have. Washington has 3 wins against 3 very good teams. I just don't get it. And honestly, I would even be fine with ranking Washington at number 2. Because they also have a better resume than Ohio State, but nobody wants to talk about that. Now, I wouldn't rank Washington at 1, but I would for sure rank them at 3, and possibly rank them even at 2. Ohio State has 2 top 20 wins, while Washington has 3. One of them were against the 6th ranked Oregon Ducks. And we all know the Big Ten outside of Penn State, Ohio State, and Michigan is pretty bad. So Ohio State has only had 2 quality wins this season, and they struggled with Rutgers and Wisconsin. And Iowa is only ranked in the top 20 because they play nobody, and they win against the bad teams they play. Iowa got absolutely destroyed when they played Penn State. The final score was 31-0. So there are really only 3 legit teams in the Big Ten. Maybe you could say Iowa is decent, but that's beside my point. My point is all around, outside of Michigan, Penn State, and Ohio State, the Big Ten completely sucks compared to the Pac-12 in 2023. Washington really needs to stop getting disrespected. The committee is really putting respect on the Pac-12 this season, with many teams being ranked. But why is Washington only at 4? And why were they behind Florida State last week? It doesn't make sense to me. And honestly, my top 4 would be Georgia at 1, which is very obvious to me. Georgia looks like the best team in the country right now, and they do have a pretty good resume, building up their resume with a couple good top 20 wins the last couple weeks. And I would have Washington at 2. They've proven that they have a really good resume and that they can win games. And then I would have Ohio State at 3. They have a good resume, but they don't have as good as a resume as Washington does. And Ohio State has not looked dominant this year. They've struggled. And I would have Michigan at 4. They've played nobody outside of Penn State. Michigan has looked dominant for most of the season, but last week they had a bad game against Maryland, and their only win is against Penn State. So as of now, I don't see a reason why Michigan and Ohio State should be ranked ahead of Washington. It just doesn't make sense to me. Ohio State has not played as good of a schedule as Washington, and if you don't agree with me, just compare the resumes. Ohio State's road win against Notre Dame was impressive, but Notre Dame now has 3 losses, and is ranked below Oregon State and Arizona, two teams that Washington beat. And Ohio State also has a good win against Penn State, who is ranked 11th in the nation, and they beat them at home. But compared to Washington's home win against Oregon, who is ranked 6th, there is a difference there. Oregon is the better team than Penn State. And even the teams not ranked in the top 25 that Washington played are better than the other teams Ohio State has played. Ohio State's only good wins are Penn State and Notre Dame. Rutgers and Wisconsin, you could possibly make the debate for it was a decent win, but both of those games they struggled in. Now the winner of Ohio State and Michigan would have a case to be ranked ahead of Washington, but why is Washington not ranked higher as of the latest college football playoff rankings release? The disrespect is crazy, and I'm going to be honest. I've talked some crap about Washington and their bad games against Arizona State and Stanford, but week after week they continue to win in tough games and prove me wrong. And beating Oregon State really sealed it for me. There's been talk about an undefeated Washington team getting left out for a one-loss SEC team, and I mentioned in one of my videos that I wouldn't be surprised if the committee did somehow leave them out because of how much the committee obviously doesn't like Washington and how Washington has been getting disrespected as of lately. But I wouldn't agree with them getting left out, and it would actually be really hard to leave a 13-0 Washington out, and they probably wouldn't, but there was talk about a one-loss team getting over them, which is stupid. But there is no reason Washington should get left out beating Oregon twice and going undefeated. I don't think the committee could leave them out. And honestly, there's a chance Washington could lose to Oregon and not even be in the playoffs. Because ultimately, they would probably have to win that game to make the playoffs. Because there's a lot of good teams this year. And that would be more fair to leave them out. Because you should be rewarded for winning your conference. But as of now, Washington needs more recognition. And it's kind of crazy to me that they're underdogs against Oregon State too. All odds are against Washington. And even after beating Oregon earlier this year, they will be underdogs in that rematch if it happens. And the rematch is going to be awesome if it happens. And it's likely that it will happen. And I can't wait. But it's time for the college football world, including all the fans, to put respect on Washington. Because they've proven time and time again that they are legit and they deserve to be ranked higher. And if they lose to Oregon, it won't change my opinion on Washington and how good of a team they are. This would be the perfect year to start a 12-team playoff. And it's sad that there are going to be some very good teams getting left out this year. But all the drama put aside, I hope the committee makes the right choices. And I'm very excited for the college football playoff this year. But anyways, that is going to do it for the video. I just wanted to do a little rant video and talk about Washington and give more respect to this Washington team because I think they deserve it. And this video is coming from an Oregon fan who honestly doesn't like Washington because they have owned us the last 2 years, just being honest. But I can't deny that Washington is a very good team. And the disrespect they get is a little too much. And they should definitely be ranked higher. And they should also be looked at as a legit national title contender. But if you guys want more videos like this, let me know down in the comments below. And also like the video and subscribe to the channel. And do not forget to turn on notifications so you never miss an upload like this one. But that's going to do it. Peace out, guys.